Hello, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining this session. I know you've been to a tough day, and this is today's presentation for Board 10.1. And we bring business into the cognitive space. I'm Gabriele Gallo. I'm here with Andrea.
Andrea Masiero.
We're going to guide you through our new board release, which introduces a few interesting functionalities that we want you to have a look at. So, Board 10.1, cognitive, what's that? We try to integrate, interact, and use more of the data that we can bring into board. So we're trying to leverage our computational algorithms and our logics to organize, arrange, show, display the data and display the processes to help you understand and to help the solution, so to help board, help you understanding the processes and finding the information that you're looking for. And we try to relate the mental process of perception to our engine, and we try to bring in these functionalities in board. What are the key new features of Board 10.1? We got a new user experience, a new interface. New because we are introducing the new HTML5 browser technology. So we are supporting HTML5 when interacting with the solution. And it's not only HTML5, but it is enriched with new functionalities. So when the user accesses the solution through the web interface, it doesn't only have access to the solution, so to the so-called capsules, if you're familiar with Board, but it also introduces new features and new areas that we're trying to depict here with this slide. There is an area that we have introduced for storytelling, and this is where it becomes more cooperative. It becomes more interactive. And storytelling is about building a structure, a process, and create, again, a story for the number, a story for the process, for the decision that has been made or will be made. In context collaboration, we have introduced a few features that we will love to show you in the next minutes, and this is why we are cooperating, myself and Andrea. And cognitive technology, to understand what's inside the solution. How can we leverage the information that we got in to provide you with more, again, insights. User experience, as we said, we got a brand new UI. You can customize the interface, as I will show you. You can interact better with the solution. It's not more only a client application. It was already a platform with client, with the web, with mobile, with Excel add-in. Now we got a new UI. You got a self-service authoring included in mobile. We support, again, as we've always have, single sign-on. And we have new user-oriented functionalities that we will show you, exactly using Board. Sorry, I jumped to the next one. Storytelling. We can share presentations. So the concept of presentation has been introduced. It's a new way to customize and make your own analysis, make your own story, merge data and merge solutions into one story. And it is coming with collaborative and personal workspace. So what you found in the client as a pinboard, so the ability that you had to create your own reports, your customized charts, your own mashup of items that was telling you another story, is now available on the web, on the HTML5, and is now available for all the users as soon as they log in. In context user experience, we're going to have a little chat today with Andrea. Interactive analysis sharing. We can create work groups. So the whole idea of process is now being completely reshaped with these functionalities. Because it's no more the traditional workflow. It's no more the traditional way to cooperate. You need to send an email. You need to share something. Now sharing has become completely a different matter of fact, a completely different experience.
It becomes native.
Yeah, actually. Which is happening on the web, which is happening when you are connected, as soon as you are connected with all of the users that are belonging to the same work group, belonging to the same authorization group, but taking part to the same process and being more collaborative again. Cognitive technologies, last but not least, but I think it's very important, we are introducing search-generated analytics, so you can search within Board. We had already a search functionality, which was more of a understanding of all of the metadata, data, and prompting this information to the user so that he could or she could navigate through this information, whether it was metadata, whether it was information, so data. Now we are taking it to the next level because the search-generated analytics is just interactive with what you see below, which is the natural language recognition. So you can actually ask Board for what you're looking for, and Board will probably respond, as we will show you. And there is also the possibility to have generated narration, so you can ask Board to tell you what the number is looking like. Let me go straight into the solution, straight into the application. I guess you know what this is, what that is. This is Board, and I just can do it again. I can log in again if I sign out. Okay, I want to log in. So as I was saying, I can log in with a Windows account. You got single sign-on, and I can log in using my authorized username and password. As soon as I log in, and this is the new UX I was talking about, as soon as you log in, you can have a mashup, you can have a kind of a dashboard that is representing all of the applications that you have access to. This is organized, this is my environment now, in different areas, in different folders, but I've also got areas that I can better understand and better navigate. For example, the sales on the top left corner. If I make it bigger, I start getting some insights which I have decided to show. So for example, I'm showing here the year-to-date actuals for the sales, which is that amount. Or if I want more insights, it can be broken down with a graph, with a chart, that is showing me the trend. And this can be also merged with a little bit of more information if you do the same and you increase the size of that tile. Okay, I've got those revenues, and I've got this trend, and I can reorganize, reposition them. What does this mean? This is a simple example, but used to communicate a value, a functionality. This could become a kind of a KPI dashboard that shows you the highlights that you want to see. As soon as you land in Board, as soon as you log in, you want to have a look at the sales and the cost of sales, maybe. You want to have a look at the KPI 1 and the KPI 2 or 3 or 4. These are capsules, these are applications, out of which I want to take just one insight. This one insight is this. The one insight from the sales I want to get is this one. And I know where to go every day as to whether this needs to be further understood, this to be further detailed, but this is going quite well. As a matter of fact, it's not something that I'm interested in now. So I want to start from there, I want to navigate there. Just have a quick overview of the application. This is a Board application, you know that. And what I'm trying to tell you is that here we've got all of the functionalities covered, we've got everything, we just made it look nicer and more interactive and easier to access, because through HTML5, you've got full compatibility. You can open it on the Apple laptop, you can open it on a Windows laptop, you can open it via a mobile device, so it's an HTML5 page on a mobile device, or you can open it everywhere, even on the mobile, on the iPhone if you want to, but of course, it's made of sizing and maybe it's not perfect for big applications. Let's have a quick look at the screens. So let's navigate a little bit on the screens, because I want to really show you that everything is supported. I don't know, we got maps, we got charts, we got the interactive selection, we got the master functionalities, we got everything. And another thing that we have introduced is of course, the possibility to edit those layouts online. So the users can modify the layouts and change them online, inline. They can change the axes, they can change the contents, they can change the algorithms, and everything that you have on the client for modifying, for changing, for putting conditional formatting, sorting, and whatever is also available in the web client. And again, this is something that it can be done by any user, Light Plus, anyone. This is part of a path. This is part of a path that we're taking to completely remove the client from our architectural landscape, and it's going to be almost be HTML5 interface, also to maintain the solution, also to develop the solution, also to configure new solution. Okay, so this is how you modify the layout. This is how you change. You can drag and drop. It's all interactive, as you know, and it's immediately rearranged. It's immediately changed down the line. Of course, this is some selection logics. Yeah, if we move on, we got data entry supported. We got everything covered from a functional standpoint. We just, at this moment in time, missed the development part, so you can't create new cubes. You can't create new hierarchies from the web, but you can do everything else. You can launch procedures. You can support a planning, a forecasting process. You can support workflow logics. You can do anything. If you move on to the next slide, to the next screen, we can also have a look at the functionality for showing images, embedding documents. All that is normally managed within a board application is absolutely at your fingertips, and it is available through the HTML5 functionality and interface. Absolutely supported. I guess an interesting part that I want to show you now, if I go back to the initial land screen, is that menu there on the left, which is kind of summarizing the items that I was introducing at the beginning of the session. And these items are, of course, the new UI. So you got all of the capsules with the navigation path, with your folders, the subfolders, and everything is absolutely supported and managed in the new UI. You've got 3 sections, the capsules, the presentations. I apologize for the Italian translation of the interface, but this is something that you can easily manage and change in your interface language. So you got your application navigation panel, that it can be used like this, so you can go and navigate to the folders and blah, blah, blah. You can go back. So you got capsules, which is the navigation area for your solution. You got the presentations, which we'll have a look in a few minutes, and the cognitive space, which we have a look soon after. What I would like to immediately show you before we go on is that also the interface and the theme can be changed per customer and per solution, per application. So you can change the background, you can change the tile, you can change the logo in the top left corner, which I've left to be the board theme, so the B, but I could change it if I drag and drop a theme, a new object. I've changed the background theme to the Boardville one, just to show you and just to, of course, be in line with the theme of today's presentation. So, as you can see, there's a message. I don't know if you can read it. I hope you can. Andrea has shared the presentation with me. So what's happening? I'm moving towards a more collaborative environment, and I'm going to tell you about now what the presentation is, how does it work, and how does it completely start changing the game of collaboration, cooperation, workflow, and planning, or working together with boards. So I'm happy with this message. I can say OK. And on the left-hand part, I can move to the presentation area, the green one. And as I've said, it is completely changed also in UI, because we've color-coded the areas just to let the user understand where he is now and what things he can or she can do and cannot do, of course. So moving into the presentation area, the border and the top left corner turns in green. And here, I've got the possibility to create a new presentation. Again, nuovo for the non-Italian ones is new. And I can open, edit, have access to the presentation that Andrea has shared with me. And let's say, I don't know, oh, wait, I've got a message. Andrea sent me a message. Let me have a look. And this is the chat functionality that I was talking about. We have got an integrated chat functionality. Andrea has just shared with me something and has sent me a message. Here I've got the history of the communications. Yesterday we were working a little bit on the presentation. And here just send me a message. Hello, Gabriele, can you help me with this analysis? I need your insights. Okay, happy to help. Let me just message him back. Happy, if I can spell it right, happy to help you. Okay, you won't see it, but he's just received a message. And he can also reply to me whenever he wants. Okay, perfect. Let me open the presentation. So the presentation is what we use to address the storytelling functionality. So we can merge, we can bring together areas, screens, functions from different applications, from different capsules into one single, what we call presentation, which is an environment that can be modified, can be saved as modified differently from the corporate view. So if I'm now entering this presentation, okay, I can find the comments that Andrea or the person who's worked on this has done for me. And you can put the menu in line, and we can review the comments. Can you please help me understand how to manage this situation? Okay, maybe I would ask him with the chat what kind of situation you're talking about. It looks very fine to me. Anyway, the idea is I can change things. I can reshape this chart. I can change the selection and save it so that he can modify and cooperate to build a story, to build something that maybe should be presented later. So let's do a business case. I am, I don't know, responsible for the
resellers.
For the resellers, or for something in the company, and the CEO or the CFO or the head of the finance is asking me about my figures. And he's asking me to justify why something is going wrong or bad, or, sorry, good. So I can prepare a presentation. I can create a new presentation. Can you please add some slides to some areas to the presentation? And I can decide to create a new presentation or to add it to an existing one. So I can enrich the presentation with things that I want to discuss, that I want to merge, that I want to modify. So now I'm changing back to the presentation area. If you change the look and feel of, I don't know, these two tables, so at least we see that we've done something different, we can save selections, and we can create a kind of PowerPoint deck that doesn't exist as a PowerPoint deck, but is existing with it board, can create a story, and we can use that to discuss the story with my head of finance, with my procurement, with my CEO, with the person that is probably asking me for some information. This can also be used as a different way of looking at things, which is the way that I would like to look at things, but it's not the corporate way of looking at things. So if I want these charts to look differently, if I want these columns not to be there and I want these columns to be completely different, I can save them in my presentation, and instead of accessing the corporate capsule, I can use my presentation as a way to access the numbers, because in fact, is also another way of saving the reports. So the presentations is one of the new features of Boardville 1, and address different functionalities, different meanings, different ways of working. One is absolutely storytelling. I can merge screens from different applications. If you want to add another application, another screen from another application, just very briefly. No, you do it from the presentation, it's the same.
Okay, which one?
Demo, BDG, open the screen, yeah. Go into, I don't know, sales quantity definition, okay. Add this one as a part of the presentation. Okay, so this is also part of the presentation. I can add notes. I can reorder the parts of the presentation. I'm just pretending that this is part of the same environment and the same application. And yeah, You can move it up or down with the arrows on the left, and yeah. You can insert areas of the presentation which are not data, but are comments. So you can create a new slide, a new areas. Sezione intestazione, please. Yeah. Okay, add. Which is basically only comments, which is basically only, you can paste an image, you can do whatever you want. You can manage comments, you can manage different topics. And this can help you build, again, a story, build something that you want to discuss, that you want to share, that should be your presentation, your collaborative environment. So, going one step backwards, we've seen the presentations. The presentations are for storytelling, so you build a story that is how the number is what it is, and it's probably because of different areas of different applications. And you can merge it with sections that are not particularly data-driven, but are more comment-oriented. And this can be reviewed and can be shared with other users as well. So if I want to share this now, yeah, open it. You can share it. I can share it with someone else. I don't know, Thomas. And I can decide whether this person can modify or not the presentation. So probably, and this is the work group's logic, you can create a work group, a group of people who has access to the presentation, but maybe not all of them have access to the changes. So we'll be able to change the numbers, to change the layouts, to change the ordering. So if you're creating a work group to create a presentation, they will probably be editing the presentation. If not, they're just viewers. This, together with the chatting experience, creates and opens up a whole new level of process collaboration, a whole new level of interacting on numbers, on processes, on insights, on making decisions, because basically you can work within Board, and our roadmap, our strategy is making Board the go-to platform for you every day. So for taking decisions, the first thing that you do, okay, I open Board. Why? Because in Board I can cooperate, because in Board I have these functionalities, because Board is an integrated platform for combining and cooperating in BI, CPM, demand planning, replenishment, target level calculation, whatever. You can hold it there, and you can manage it with authorization, security, how people will interact with the numbers that are stored in Board. Okay?
One question?
Yes?
Draw or mark something?
Pardon me?
Can I draw or mark something in a graph when I want to put the spot on something and just write a comment in the graph or just beside or?
At this point in time, this functionality is not available, but is in the roadmap. So you can put comments in the object, but the comments are stored within the object and should be accessed with an option. So you show comments, but they are not immediately seen, but we are working on this kind of collaborative concept also on the interface.
And if I'm not signed in the system, so if I just offline, not in the client, not in the... thank you. So I'm not in the client or I'm not in the web interface, but you provide the presentation. So what do I see then?
In that case, so at the moment, the presentations are only available if you connect.
Okay.
And this is because, first of all, this is a web HTML5 interface, so you need to have access to the server, and you need to have a connection, a web connection to the server, and you need to be online.
Okay.
So it's not an offline process.
So imagine if you have like an appointment every Monday at 10, so you
log to Board.
You provide an Outlook schedule and appointment, and then everybody has to sign in, and then everything's possible to a given group. Like let's assume 20, 25 people joining a telco conference.
But they probably will need to be connected.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And to share the presentation, you can eventually print it.
Okay, but
you have the print
not,
functionality, but
that's not the ultimate.
it's not the aim.
What we're trying to do.
You see what I mean?
I know that there is this kind of need. Of course, it's always needed if you always have it offline. At the moment, the functionality provided is this, and I'm not sure we will be delivering a functionality for offline, but at the moment it's an online capability.
Yeah, thank you.
And in any case, sorry to interrupt, in any case, you can't watermark as you request into the presentation, but if you add annotations on board objects, all the annotation will be showed into the presentation as a pop-up. As a pop-up.
And they are also stored into the object.
And they're stored into the object, actually.
Can have its own annotations, but they are not interactive as I think you want them to be. So highlight with a circle, that functionality is not supported now, but it's in a roadmap.
Yeah. Me as an owner, I want to put the spot on something on the development which is not suitable for us or something, and then I want to highlight. But
then I understand your question, and unfortunately.
That would be the next step to get the people running to the system, not creating PowerPoint or Excel.
Yeah, hopefully that's what we want to achieve.
Yeah, perfect, thank you.
Yes?
Yes.
Has the administrator access to the presentations? Sorry, does the administrator has access to the presentation which are created from the users?
No.
Can he see which user has created presentations?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Cognitive space. I'm sorry if I run to the functionalities, but we don't have a lot of time, so I want to make sure I tell you all of the new features, and then I will hopefully have enough time to answer all of the questions. Cognitive space. This is a really step ahead, and I think it's really interesting. So what you see here, maybe you don't read it very well because of the background, is that you can ask Board to find and show things for you. So previously, we had a search functionality. We had a search functionality that was crawling within the environment and understanding metadata, data, screens, whatever, and was prompting you a list of all of this through which you could search and you can identify what you were looking for, okay? But it was as interactive as this one.
It was just a list, actually. It
was just a list.
After crawling all the environment.
So now, what I can do now with Board is that I can, provided that there's a microphone, okay? I can interact with Board and ask Board to show me something. So I can try and ask Board, show me budget by month. So Board will look within the database. Of course, maybe I need to ask him to show me budget by month. So it's looking within all of the databases, all of the capsules, all of the areas, and is showing me by result. If we go down, there must be more. Okay. So he has found the budget in the previous database, which was empty. So it showed me a line completely to 0. And then there is a budget that is being shown to me in a chart, which is belonging to another database. Of course, maybe a customer context won't have 55 databases as I have because I work in different contexts, but it will happen like this. So if I ask Board to show me budget for only 2016, let me see.
50.
Let me ask. Show me budget by month for year 2016, please.
Okay.
Come on, Board. I'm being kind.
Actually, with my English accent, it's impossible. It doesn't work. I'm waiting for the French version.
So the idea is, if you're kind enough to Board will give you the answer and will prompt the information. Of course, it has got now an algorithm that tries to identify the most appropriate answer and will look throughout all of the application, giving also a scoring, which is represented by this bar, based on how much Board thinks that the contents of this screen, of this application, is in line with what you're asking. So here we haven't got a Siri or a Cortana. We've got an intelligence that helps you identifying the data and which will probably and most likely be improved to help you get insights from the data. And what is it for? Why have we introduced such a functionality? First of all, because in an integrated planning environment, in a big context, you can imagine very easily that a CEO, someone sitting on the top, doesn't always have a clear idea of the context of the environment, of where things are. But what he needs a number in that exact moment, and he needs to be able to interact with the solution and ask immediately what he's looking for, and potentially get an answer in the quickest way possible. So the idea is, if we introduce something like this, we give the access to the information very quickly. We don't need the user to know the name of the screen, the name of the application, the name of the cube, the name of the dimension. He doesn't need to know anything. He just needs to ask the information and get the answer. So this is where we want to go with this functionality, and this is where we want to bring in difference. This is where we want to step ahead. We want to give functionalities that are user-oriented and that enable collaboration. We want to be the go-to place for every user, for every person, every day, login board. Why? Because there I've got everything. There I've got the answers that I'm looking for. And this is what we are introducing with 10.1, with the new UI, with the cognitive analysis. Perfect. I think I'm in time. Perfect. And I'm happy to answer any question. I said I'm happy to answer any question.
You've been really clear.
Yeah, this might mean two things. I've been very clear, or you haven't listened? No, no, really. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. If not, we can wrap it up. And I can thank you very much for your attention and your participation.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm just shy, so it took a while. How many criteria can you put in the question? So, I mean, you know, obviously you've got different entities, different dimensions. How many, is there a limit? Or,
No. Oh, no.
So you could say budget on this for that
on
location.
Channel, whatever.
Channel A, location north.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You have to have these entities modeled into your database.
Of course.
Yeah, you need to know the name of the channel. Yeah, but of course, as long as you know what you're asking, of course you can ask. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just to add something to what Gabriele said, I don't have to add anything because he said everything, but for you that are used to board and know board since a long time, is the first time that we can present board entirely, and you will also see on the hands-on and on the academy, we are presenting board entirely on a web client. So even, I don't know if you say it, but the edit layout functionalities that is exactly the same, has exactly the same features and the same parameters that you can use in the FET client is just the first step towards the complete transformation of even front end and the back end completed in HTML5.
Yeah, another functionality which I probably haven't talked about is the possibility to ask board to tell me.
Budget is 437786634 per month, May 16. The lowest value of budget is 434170570 per month, December 16.
Okay, thank you very much. You've been very helpful. Now, the idea again is we are introducing functionalities that will help the user to understand the numbers, to identify peaks, to identify the maximum, the minimum, and probably to ask boards to be more interactive and to be more user-oriented in its interface and in its collaborative environment. Yes, please. I didn't notice you earlier.
Sorry. Do you have to select beforehand the kind of report that is going to be shown when a certain question is asked?
Good question. At this stage, board will probably show you a trend, if you will show it by month, or a column if it is by any other dimension. So it will not try to create, I don't know, a radar chart or anything fancy.
I imagine a CFO asking, I want to see the statement of cash flow of this legal entity in these 3 years.
In that case, it will not show you a chart because it will not be able to create the chart, it will guide you to one of the screens where the cash flow is coming up as a layout title, as the title of the screen, as the block name, or whatever, and will sort the results by ranking. So the more the... pardon me?
It's like a search engine.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, this is a first release and a first stage for development. I hope that this will be improved. I'm sure it will, but I don't know where we will get to in terms of building also the report for cash flow automatically. But for sure, it's something that we are working on.
Thank you.
Any more questions? It's not easy to see them because, okay. No? Okay.
We are done.
Thank you very much for your time.